Speaker.
Almighty God, we give thanks to you, the creator of the universe, and humbly beseech you to direct and prosper the deliberations of the members of this house here assembled for the advancement of your glory and the trust and welfare of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Grant that peace and happiness, truth and justice may be established among us for all generations. Amen. Amen. Namaste.
Oath or affirmation, announcements by the Speaker.
Honorable members, the Honorable Maxi Coffey, MP, member for La Hoqueta Tal Paro, has requested leave of absence from the sittings of the House during the period July 3rd to 6, 2018. Mr. Rudranath Indar Singh, MP, member for Couva South, has requested leave of absence from sittings of the House during the period July 2nd to the 20th, 2018. And Dr. Fuad Khan, MP, member for Barataria San Juan, and Mrs. Christine Nualu Hussain, MP, member for Kamuto Mansanilla, have requested leave of absence from today's sitting of the House. The leave which the members seek is granted.
Bills brought from the Senate, petitions, papers.
The Minister of Finance.
Madam Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Finance, I have the honor to lay paper number 1, the report of the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago on insurance and pensions for the year ended December 31st, 2016. Thank you very kindly.
And before we proceed, might I ask all members to ensure that their devices are on silent so that they don't disturb the proceedings. The Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, I have been directed by Cabinet to make
Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Education, I have the honor to lay the following papers. Paper number 2, the Administrative Report of the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine Campus for fiscal year 2015 to 2016. Paper number 3, the Administrative Report of the National Energy Skills Center for the period October 2013 to September 2014. Thank you very kindly, Madam Speaker.
Reports from committees.
The member for Caroni Central.
Madam Speaker, I have the honor to present the following reports. The 17th report of the Public Accounts Committee on the examination of the audited financial statements of the Trinidad and Tobago Bureau of Standards for the financial years 2009 to 13. The 18th report of the Public Accounts on the examination of the audited financial statements of the Airports Authority of Trinidad and Tobago for the financial years 2008 to 2012.
Prime Minister's questions, urgent questions.
The member for Caroni East.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Honourable Minister of Education, notwithstanding the undertaking of the Minister to the Senate on May 29, 2018, why has the Ministry of Education not paid the teachers at Bishop's Centenary College, which has resulted in the teachers at that college walking off the job due to unpaid salaries.
Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Education does not pay teachers at private secondary schools. Bishop's Centenary College is a private secondary school. The Ministry of Education gives stipends to private secondary schools which accommodate students on the basis of the essay exams. Let me reiterate, the Ministry of Education does not pay the salaries of teachers at the private secondary schools. Thank you.
Supplemental member for Caroni East.
Having made a statement of you pay the stipends, have the stipends been paid to the Bishop Centenary College, and up to what date have the stipends
One
been
question, has the stipends been paid? Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, the information that is available to me tells me that stipends for terms 1 and 2 have been paid, and at this moment, stipends for term 3 are being processed. Thank you very much.
Supplemental member for Caroni East.
Honourable Minister, are there any other schools so affected and therefore teachers affected by this?
Member, that question is a bit vague. What does affected mean?
Are there any other schools affected by such a situation? Of non-payment?
Member, member for Caroni East, could you just clarify the question so we're certain what you're asking?
Are there any other schools similar to this so affected by failure to pay the stipends to these schools?
Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, the fact that you have had to ask the member for Caroni East on several occasions to clarify his statement, it tells me that he is confused. Once again, I don't know of which he speaks. I don't know what other schools he's talking about. I have made it clear. In our education system, we have two types of schools. We have public schools and we have private schools. The government does not pay stipend for teachers in the private schools. And I don't know the genesis of this question.
Please, order. Member for Naparima.
To the Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs. Could the Minister indicate whether the Trinidad and Tobago High Commissioner to India has in fact tendered his resignation based on administrative concerns as reported, and if so, has the Prime Minister accepted the resignation?
Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the High Commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago to India has tendered his resignation, and the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago has accepted his resignation.
Supplemental member for Naparima.
Could the Minister indicate what were the concerns, including administrative ones, expressed by the High Commissioner in his letter of resignation?
Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs.
Madam Speaker, I'm unable to say the reasons for his resignation at this point.
Supplemental member for Naparima.
Is the Minister, the acting Minister, in a position to say whether similar concerns were expressed by other High Commissioners and Ambassadors?
I will not allow that, having regard to the answer that was given. Member for Princess Down.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Honourable Acting Minister, could the Minister say, in light of the acceptance of resignation of the substantive High Commissioner at that time, who will now be acting in the position in India?
Minister of Foreign and CARICOM Affairs.
Madam Speaker, it is natural after the High Commissioner, there's the head of Chancery who would act. It's normal.
Member for Oropuch West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. To the Minister of Health, regarding the reports indicating that a San Fernando woman is seeking urgent funding for medical treatment abroad for osteosarcoma Given the lack of local specialists able to treat this condition, can the minister indicate whether the ministry will consider providing any resources to this citizen at a time of desperate need?
Minister of Health.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this question is based on a false premise born out of a lack of understanding of the healthcare system. The way the question is phrased indicates there's a lack of specialists. That is the furthest thing from the truth. The patient is currently under the care of a specialist receiving chemotherapy, after which she will be assessed and a decision made to continue her treatment. It is unfortunate that this patient chose to go to the media, so now I have to explain certain things. There is no need for the taxpayer to fund this patient abroad because every inch of care that this woman needs is available locally at both San Fernando, where she's currently being treated under the care of an oncologist, and if not, it is available at St. James. So there is no need for this patient who is currently in the public care system, currently under the care of specialist doctors, to have a question phrased in this way, talking about lack of local specialists. Nothing is further than from the truth. And if Oropuch West would have checked with either Faizabad or Baratari and San Juan, she would not have phrased her question in this way. I want to reiterate, the public does not have to spend $200,000 US because the treatment available is available locally. And she is currently under the care of specialist doctors at San Fernando. I thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Supplemental member for Oropuch West.
Honourable Minister, how many specialists do we have in Trinidad dealing with this osteosarcoma?
Supplemental member for Oropuch West.
What is plenty?
More than a few.
Order. Member for Caroni East.
Yeah, take your lithium.
To the Minister of Works and Transport, could the Minister indicate why preventative measures were not implemented on a timely basis prior to the onset of the rainy season, which resulted in major flooding in the capital city of Port of Spain?
Minister of Works and Transport.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think it is clear that the drainage in downtown Port of Spain behave like the Senate.
Madam Speaker, I ask that what Oropuch just spoke to me across the floor be expunged from the record. She has been insulting and out of place.
Member for Princestown. If you would face, may I have order, please, I'm standing. Member for Princestown, I think if you face your chair in this way, you wouldn't so often be, committing the infractions that you do. All right? Member for St. Joseph, one, I don't know under what standing order you've raised, and secondly, nothing has reached this chair. All right? I remind members, though, and this is for the continuing of today's proceedings, in that certain behavior is expected of you. Certain things are considered unparliamentary, and while we are entitled to some banter, banter must know its boundaries.
Thank you.
Minister of Works and Transport.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's a clear fact that the Ministry of Rural Development, the Port of Spain City Corporation, is responsible for the drainage in the capital city, Port of Spain. However, the Ministry of Works and Transport do give assistance to the Port of Spain Corporation in the form of technical support and some equipment when required. The Ministry of Works and Transport would have done exactly what was expected from the Ministry of Works and Transport before the rainy season, and that is why both the St. Anne's River and the Diego Martin River did not burst its bank. The water that came into the capital city, if I'm just to give a little indication of how much rain fell on the 1st of July, on the 30th of June, which was the day just before, you had in the St. Anne's area 1.2 millimeters. On the 1st of July, which is the day of the rain, it was 84.4 millimeters, a significant amount of rainfall. And during the time 5 to 6 p.m., which is when the flood took place, 55.8 millimeters of rain fell within just that 1 hour space. Clearly, the channels in Port of Spain is not engineered for that amount of rainfall. The flooding took place in the lower part of Port of Spain, where the water was where the water normally enters the sea. At 7 p.m., there was high tide. So there was a challenge in the water getting into the sea. However, this morning, as directed by the acting Prime Minister, the Ministry of Works did accompany the City Corporation on an inspection of the underground drains. And based on the report the preliminary report that I got on the inspection.
Time is now spent. Supplemental, member for Couva North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Minister, can you give an update on the accessing of a US $120 million IDB loan for a flooding alleviation program for the city of Port of Spain that was undertaken by NIDCO and Drainage Division since 2014?
Minister of Works and Transport.
Madam Speaker, as I was saying before, all inspections showed that the drains were cleared. Madam Speaker, that study undertaken by NIDCO in 2014 was submitted to the IDB for its review. Unfortunately, the IDB rejected that proposal.
Supplemental member for Caroni East.
Minister, what would the Ministry of Works and Transport do about the recommendations by the Netherlands group for cleaning up the drains and the watercourses in Port of Spain? Are you aware of that?
Minister of Works and Transport.
At this time, there is an ongoing project of cleaning up the drains and the watercourses. However, the Ministry of Works and Transport in-house have designed a project which we are actually doing, a pilot project to install a sump and a pump to pull the water out of South Quay. If that is successful, it will be duplicated along Rising Road to at least get the water out in the high tide. Thank you.
Member for Caroni East. Question 5.
To the Minister of Education. With respect to discussions between the Ministry of Education and the Trinidad and Tobago Association of Private Secondary Schools for a new financial arrangement for accommodation of students, can the Minister indicate the state of such current negotiations and respective positions of both entities? Yours and...
Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, discussions between both parties are ongoing. It will not be prudent of me at this time to disclose the positions of the various parties, and therefore I'm unable to do so at this point. Thank you.
Honourable members, question time is now spent.
Questions on notice. Request for leave to move the adjournment of the House on definite matters of urgent public importance. Statements by ministers.
Minister of Education.
Madam Speaker, I have been directed by Cabinet to make the following statement. I am pleased to inform this Honourable House of the revision of the National School Code of Conduct, which includes principles of good conduct, standards of behaviour, and identifies possible consequences for misconduct for all school personnel. It establishes a framework for the development and implementation of rules and procedures at the school level, which are deemed prerequisites for safe, productive teaching, learning, and working environments. Madam Speaker, Cabinet, in July 2009, approved the implementation of the National School Code of Conduct. However, since its inception, the document has not been revised and updated. In 2018, the Ministry of Education undertook a comprehensive review of the document to ensure the incorporation of new legislation that impacts the schools, teachers, and the children, that reflects the pervasiveness of the internet and the social media, with their concomitant influence on cyber-related infractions, and the need to update responsibilities and standards of behavior that is supportive of 21st century learning environments. Madam Speaker, this review process involved the establishment of a committee in February 2018, which comprised representatives from key stakeholders such as the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, the National Parent Teachers Association, the Association of Principals of Public Secondary Schools, the Association of Principals of Assisted Secondary Schools, the National Primary Schools Principals Association, the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy, Tobago, and the Ministry of Education personnel. Further, the Ministry of Education elicited the views, invited submissions from the various organizations represented on the committee, as well as the general public. I am pleased to report that the committee was able to complete its work in record time with the submission of the revised Code of Conduct by June 2018. This revised Code of Conduct incorporates guiding principles that articulate the desirable and the positive behaviors and attitudes required for individuals comprising the school community, and assists in the determination of right and wrong. The committee reviewed and updated these guiding principles to include areas pertinent to respect, responsibility, rights, integrity, courtesy, productivity, and performance. To facilitate ease of reference by school personnel of related areas in the National School Code of Conduct, the content of the School Code of Conduct was rearranged and a new framework developed to depict geographically the roles and responsibilities for school personnel, teachers, stakeholders, as well as promote the required standards of behavior and range of consequences. In establishing the expectations for reasonable behavior of school personnel, the committee explored and updated the undermentioned standards related to academic performance, attendance and punctuality, good behavior, dress and grooming, and the social transport, and further, to combat fighting, assault, threats, arson, the use of dangerous objects, firearms, and substance abuse. Additionally, the committee developed standards for addressing incidents of bullying, cyberbullying, the use of cellular phones, data security, and privacy, the conduct of examinations, and the social media. Madam Speaker, in addressing the enactment of new laws that impact the school environment, teachers and children of school age, the committee also reviewed and updated all legislation, regulations, and the circular memoranda governing the standards of behavior. The range of consequences for infractions was also amended to incorporate new approaches such as mediation, referral to learning enhancement centers, in-school intervention, and other initiatives aimed at deterring repeated behavior. Madam Speaker, referral to the learning enhancement centers is one of the recent options available for students who have displayed gross misconduct. These centers are facilities where students who engage in serious acts of misconduct and who are placed on extended suspension are assigned to reduce recurrence upon their return to school. The program at the Learning Enhancement Centers is conducted by officers of the Student Support Services Division and includes a series of assessments, individual or group counseling, and skill-building sessions to enhance the students' psychosocial functioning in preparation for reintegration to the school system. It should be noted, Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Education, in addressing incidents of misconduct on the part of administration and the staff in schools, is guided by the Education Teaching Service Amendment Regulation 2000. Madam Speaker, in promoting discipline, the Ministry of Education, as part of its national strategy, has provided guidance for the development of data-driven, context-specific, school-based school discipline plans by all schools. The National School Code of Conduct, therefore, is fundamental to the development of these school discipline plans and provides the framework that assists schools in developing guidelines for behavior and the consequences for school personnel, or what is referred to as the school discipline matrix. Through the use of such statistics, the ministry will report to the national community on the continued reduction of the incidence of indiscipline in our schools. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, principals, in collaboration with staff, parents, students, and other stakeholders within the school community, are expected to implement this National School Code of Conduct in a manner that is sensitive to diversity and the culture of schools and the commencement of the 2018-2019 academic year beginning in September 2018. Thank you very much.
The Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have been authorized by the Cabinet to make the following statement. On Friday, the 27th of June, 2018, I circulated 7 documents related to the purchase of the Galleon's Passage in the House of Representatives. These documents included A, the Memorandum of Agreement Norwegian sale form for the sale and purchase of the vessel executed on the 12th of January 2018 between Sea Lease Limited of Hong Kong and the National Infrastructure Development Company Limited of Trinidad and Tobago, NIDCO, together with a bill of sale and associated documents lodged with the Vanuatu Commissioner of Maritime Affairs. And B, the pre-purchase condition survey done by Lloyd's Register Classification Society, China Limited, dated December 10th, 2017. The Parliament subsequently posted all 7 documents on a link, namely https, and it's going to be in this statement, Madam Speaker, ParlCloud, ttparliament.org, index PHP, S5QTNTNFTITYNGSZ. And for those who didn't hear that, it will be circulated. However, after I circulated the documents, a number of articles appeared in the newspapers which did not make reference to the Lloyd's Register pre-purchase condition survey, and instead made reference to perceived issues regarding the condition of the vessel and its associated documentation that were not relevant.
For the avoidance of doubt, when a vessel is purchased for use as a passenger vessel, a condition survey report is usually obtained from a classification society. A classification society is a non-governmental organization that establishes and maintains technical standards for the construction and operation of ships and offshore structures. Classification societies validate and report that construction of a vessel is in accordance with relevant standards and carry out regular surveys in service to ensure continuing compliance with the standards. Lloyd's Register is one of the leading and most respected classification societies in the world, having been established in the year 1760, over 250 years ago. It has surveyed and classified thousands of vessels over the years, and it goes without saying that a certificate of class from Lloyd's Register or a similar reputable classification society is a sine qua non or an essential condition for determining and confirming the seaworthiness of a vessel. For the avoidance of doubt, the following words appear in bold on page 8 of the Lloyd's Register pre-purchase condition survey for the Galleon's Passage, which was circulated to honorable members last week. And I quote, "Problems with engine vibration and shafting and stern bearings found during the sea trial were solved. During the sea trial on 11/07/2017, attending surveyor was satisfied with the related conditions. Shaft seal temperatures were measured and found satisfactory. It is to be noted that Lloyd's Register and no other entity is the final arbiter of the condition of a passenger vessel, and further, that Lloyd's Register gave the Galleon's Passage a Category 1 status, that is to say, the highest category for all items surveyed, including the hull, deck, superstructure, engines, mechanical and electrical equipment, safety equipment, life-saving equipment, piping systems, gears, controls, generators, instrumentation, etc. Accordingly, Madam Speaker, I am recirculating the Lloyd's Register pre-purchase condition survey for the Galleon's Passage for the benefit of honorable members, and I would ask members, the media, and the general public to pay particular attention to the notation on page 8 of this document and the score, that is to say, the highest possible score given by Lloyd's Register on pages 13 to 34 of the document for each item examined in the survey of the vessel. I am also recirculating Appendix B to the Memorandum of Agreement, Norwegian Sale Form, for the sale and purchase of the vessel, which gives full details of the seller's and buyer's obligations with respect to the completion of additional works on the vessel inter alia. This appendix appears not to have been attached to the MOU in the aforementioned link to the 7 documents. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
24-4, please. Thank you very much.
Admitted.
Honourable Minister, having indicated at a point in time that the Dun & Bradstreet had done a report of forensic and financial, my question is, why was this report not laid with the other documents that you were so kind to leave?
Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Dun & Bradstreet does not certify, classify, investigate, or examine the condition of a vessel or any other piece of equipment. All Dun & Bradstreet does is confirms the ownership and status of companies and entities. The Dun & Bradstreet reports, as I have said before, confirmed the status and ownership of the companies involved.
Personal explanations, introduction of bills, motions relating to the business or sittings of the House and moved by a minister, public business, government business.
Honourable members, the committee stage of the following bill was adjourned on Friday, June 29, 2018, will be resumed. a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Anti-Terrorism Act, Chapter 1207. The House will now go into the Committee of the Whole. Are you ready?
There's a consolidation of all amendments thus far,
Yes, it is.
including our last sitting here.
Yes, so honorable members, are we ready? And maybe my opening statement will clarify.
Sure.
Honorable members, on Friday, June 29, 2018, clauses 1 to 45 of the Anti-Terrorism Amendment Bill 2018 were considered in the Committee of the Whole and approved with and without amendments. As we resume the Committee of the Whole, we will proceed to consider the amendments submitted by the Leader of the Opposition for the inclusion of new clauses 46 and 47, as well as the preamble, so that all the amendments taken up to clause 45 were considered, and we are now looking at the inclusions of the new clauses 46 and 47, as well as the preamble. AG.
At the last sitting on Friday, we had deferred clause 34. AG, you remember that? Could you?
To the best of my memory, Madam, we had deferred clause 34. We had in fact considered new clause 46 and approved it. And clause 47, new clause, we had decided not to pursue that. That's the best of my memory.
That's what I recall, Madam Chair.
According to the Hansard, the record shows that clause 34, the question is that clause 34 be amended to delete subsection 3A, and there was a discussion, and clause 34 as amended was ordered to stand part of the bill.
Yes, I do recall. So that was the deletion of 3 capital E, yes?
3.
Which was the
capital.
second of the amendments proposed by the Leader of the Opposition. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Sure.
I believe.
All right. Members, as I say, the record indicates that clause 34 was dealt with, and what we all have left are the inclusions of the new clauses 46 and 47 as submitted by the Leader of the Opposition, as well as the preamble. Okay?
It's not in the bill, so 46.
All right? So let's go to the new section.
Okay, so mine is page 43 of 45, the Consolidated Act. Because we each have different points, so it's okay, so you, what is the number of the page from the report? 438. Sorry. Commissioner had to go back to the AG. That was deleted.
May I ask that we revisit clause 28 through the Speaker? We asked to do it. And I want to do this because up to when we left from the last evening, there were several areas in which we were able to find common ground. And when we were coming to 28 and 34, I think we abstained because we made the point that we were just given the circulated amendments. And at that point, the Leader adjourned the matter for another day. Now, Honourable Attorney General, we want to fight terrorism, but that has to be balanced against human rights. And thus far, we have found common ground on 27 and several other clauses. So for consistency, there's just one part of it, if you can guarantee that that has been dealt with in clause 28. Honourable AG, you will recall that one man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist.
Sure.
In fact, Nelson Mandela the Great was on the terrorist watch list at one point. The ANC was on the terrorist watch list at one point. And so what we were trying to do in our amendments is not to stop this bill. I was very disturbed. We had made so much headway, and I was exceedingly disturbed to pick up the paper and to see the comments coming from the government side.
All right, members.
And so,
1 minute.
As part of the amendments.
Honorable members, okay? I have indicated that we are considering the new clauses. Now, I just want to remind members that, and I'm exercising my prerogative as chair here, I want to remind members that this is a bill that was sent by a resolution of this House to a joint select committee for scrutiny, for improvements on the wording and the efficacy. And that select committee, that joint select committee would have been empowered with all the powers that every joint select committee is enshrined with under the standing orders. As you're also aware, a report came, I think it was a unanimous report, came to this House on the 29th of June. The report was adopted pursuant to the standing orders 66 and 67. While I would wish that we would all behave in accordance with the manner that we know how to behave. I also want to say that I would expect it is reasonable to conclude that among other reasons for sending a bill to a joint select committee is that the House would want to achieve legislative efficiencies in the process. While, and I've heard the member for Siparia say on more than one occasion that the Parliament is not a rubber stamp for the Joint Select Committee, and of course that is accepted. But the Parliament, the Joint Select Committee, having submitted a unanimous report, which was adopted by the House without dissent, it almost seems as the process that we engaged in is likened to what doctors call autoimmunity. That is when the organism eats itself. And what we engaged in, to me, may very well be tantamount to an abuse. So, and Siparia, honorable member for Siparia, I don't expect that anybody is accusing the chair of trying to provoke them. And I'm also saying, just as Parliament is not a rubber stamp, I cannot sit here as chair and see what, in my view, is a mountain. And I'm not accusing any side. I am not accusing any side. I am talking about the process that we have been engaged in. Okay? And therefore, I can't sit here and not draw it to our collective attention that we may very well be eating at our own selves in the process that we agreed to. And all I want to do is to draw it to our collective attention that this may be tantamount to abuse. I am not speaking to any particular side. Okay?
Yeah. I beg to move that we revisit clause 28 to ensure that it is consistent with the changes that were already made in 27.
Madam Chair, may I just indicate that I have confirmed with the clerk that the consistency between clauses 28 and 27 was achieved when we dealt with this clause, and perhaps the clerk can put it on the record. We deleted, and it's to be found at page 429 of your report, we deleted the subclause 4, which was offending. So it's page 429 of your report where the subclause 4, that's the clause where the Commissioner came back to the Attorney General. We deleted that clause. So if the clerk could just confirm that that was deleted, then perhaps we may avoid having to go back.
The investigative report from the police was being required
Sorry,
to come
it's
back.
subsection 5. Sorry.
Has that been deleted?
Yes, perhaps the clerk can confirm that.
Sure.
Maybe what I can ask Attorney General is that the Hansard be provided to guide you with respect to this. Okay?
I took the opportunity to ask the clerk in the break, and I have the confirmation to that effect. So the Hansard will demonstrate it.
All right, Leader of the Opposition, have you been satisfied that it has been?
I take the assurance of the Honorable Attorney General, and I'm sure if that has not been done,
And we-
there'll be another place.
And we'll request the Hansard just to confirm it out of
Sure.
an abundance of caution.
New clause 46, annual report.
The Speaker's the Chairman's indulgence to revisit Clause 36 again to have consistency with the amendments. Clause 34, I'm sorry. Clause 34.
But wasn't clause 34 the first clause we dealt with when we came in?
No. We did not look as to whether the consistency carried through from the 27 and 28. We just got this consolidation. Clause 34.
Madam Speaker, Madam Chairman, Clause 34 was the first thing that we dealt with, and we were assured that it did, in fact, meet the concern that was raised by the Leader of the Opposition on the last occasion. And I would like us to move forward, please.
So, Madam Chair, just to be clear, as opposed to referring to numbers, what was amended and accepted by the House on the last occasion was that in Section 25 of the Parent Act, the proposed amendments that we delete 3 capital A, and that was the words which said, where the Commissioner of Police receives a referral from the Attorney General under subsection 1, he shall, as soon as the results of the investigation are known, provide the Attorney General with the results of the investigation. That has been deleted.
Copy we've now been given by the Parliament. On page 45, you'll see clause 34 still contains.
Right. So that
still contains, and we refer the matter to the Commissioner who may cause an investigation. We have removed it from all the other clauses.
Yes. So may I indicate
still here.
that document does not come from the Attorney General. It was something which the clerk apparently did out of courtesy to catch up to amendments. It's not the document that either of us should refer to. Just the Hansard record will speak to, and the Speaker's notes, that in clause 34, we deleted subsection 3A. And that came as a result of your amendments that be deleted. So the Speaker's notes can confirm that for us now, as I'm sure the Speaker has.
AG, can you also, please, through the Chair, in section 25, you're looking at the 3 capital A.
Yes.
There is something with 3 common A. It is if you see it in the Consolidated Act, has that been removed? We refer the matter to the Commissioner of Police, cause an investigation, and so on.
So that was consequent with the revision to the old law that has not been removed.
Very good.
It mirrors the section 25.3 and section 32 and 33 of the Parent Act. And I've just pulled the Hansard record from the 29th. Clause 34 was amended to delete subsection 3A. That's at page 159 of the Hansard.
Okay. May I also ask you to look for 25.3 small a, because it's in red in your Consolidated Bill Act, page 441.
Yes, so I confirm that was not removed, and that was not removed because it stands in line with the provisions of the existing law. So all that the Attorney
Why is it
General...
then in red, sir?
So that came from the Joint Select Committee.
So then you're asking for this to be inserted?
No, that was the bill which came from the Joint Select Committee and which was read a second time. That bill has that. So there was no insertion done on the last occasion. That's what the Joint Select Committee brought forward.
But that is not the existing law, sir.
But the existing law is that the Attorney General...
all that about the Commissioner being involved.
So if we look to what the Act as it was set out in original terms, we have the unamended.
441, you have red and black there. Once it's in the red, that's the amendment.
Right.
From the JSC.
Okay, so the original Act would have had, this is before the Joint Select Committee sent this work forward, it would be the words which were not in red. So it said that the Attorney General shall cause an investigation to be carried out in respect of that allegation, but it didn't specify. It has gone further now to say that the Attorney General may refer it to the Commissioner of Police, who may cause an investigation. And there is nothing untoward with that, because right now the Attorney General can refer anything to the Commissioner of Police. So this doesn't go any further than saying, beyond the words in black, that the Attorney General can refer something to the Commissioner of Police, as happens on a daily basis.
Okay, but then the Commissioner has no duty to furnish
None.
a
We
report.
deleted that 3A. The Commissioner may ignore the Attorney General entirely.
Excellent. We can go to watch England play somebody. We just have one new clause to deal with.
Okay, so that we move on to the new clauses. Attorney General.
Yes, please.
Proposal for the new clauses.
So, Madam Chair, there was a proposal for a new clause 46.
Yeah, just allow the clerk.
Yes, please.
New clause 46, annual report. The question is that new clause 46 be read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The clause will now be read a second time. New clause 46, annual report.
This is the Leader of the Opposition 46, Madam.
The question is that new clause 46, which is an amendment that has been circulated by the Leader of the Opposition on the 29th of June, be added to the bill.
Madam Chair, may I indicate that on the last occasion, the Leader of the Opposition explained why we should not rely on the AG and indicated that the Minister of National Security was preferred because of the broader ambit of the orders, etc., which the AG would probably not be able to report on. We agree with that position. The CPC has assisted us somewhat by recommending that instead of a new clause 46, it really should be insertion of a new clause 43A, that it would fit sequentially there, and has suggested some small adjustment to the wording. If I could ask members to follow with the wording that we suggest be massaged, so it would read, the Minister shall cause to be prepared and laid in Parliament an annual report on the number of prosecutions, convictions, listed entities, and orders made pursuant to this Act.
This is what we proposed. I just want to say it. You have listed entities, and may I add, it should also be listed individuals.
So the definition of entities includes individuals. So they went with that broader terminology.
Certainly. So this takes in our concern here?
Yes.
Yes.
So, Madam Chair, if the member is agreeing with this, we're proposing that instead of a new clause 46 as it's tabled, the CPC's department has suggested that that should be a new clause 43A, as in capital A, and that the final wording to capture the essence of both the opposition and government would be as follows. If you will follow me. The Minister shall cause to be prepared and laid in Parliament an annual report on the number of prosecutions, comma, convictions, comma, listed entities, and orders with a capital O made pursuant to this Act, full stop.
Member for Urupuchis.
Thank you very much. Just to clarify to the Attorney General, now you had circulated before the amendment to read the Attorney General.
Yes.
And you had said, just for the record and absolute clarity here, laid in Parliament as opposed to laid in the House of Representatives, so that the report
Both
would be laid
houses.
in both houses.
Yes.
And whereas in the Leader of the Opposition you had ongoing prosecutions, you have now said number of prosecutions.
Yes.
That would mean the number of prosecutions in the preceding year, because it's an annual report.
It's as at the date of the submission of the report.
At the submission.
Yes.
But would there be anything to capture, for example, in the reports of the Integrity Commission, for example, as you're aware, you would have an area in the Integrity Commission report that speaks to ongoing investigations and so on. Would there be any opportunity here, and if not, why not, to have an idea of ongoing prosecutions as opposed to just saying list of prosecutions? Because you could see the difference. And may I also say that it is proper and that you're taking this approach to insert this this annual report feature. But it would be useful as well because these matters may go on and on. You could never tell.
Yes.
So that by putting just the number of prosecutions, you may really not capture the type of information required, even though every year you could end up with the same piece of information as part of an annual report. So that in the way you are considering this now, and appreciate your consideration. And for the record, I would say that I also completely was disturbed and regret the statement by the head of government on this matter, who bullied and threatened members in this matter. I appreciate.
Member for Oropouche East, and member for Aruka Muluni, member for Oropouche East, and member for Superior.
Madam Chair.
Member for Oropouche East, we take it that you're addressing this amendment, and therefore I'll just limit you to that amendment.
Okay.
I think the point has been made. I give the Attorney General an opportunity to answer. I believe what your concern is whether the words, the number of prosecutions, would also cater for ongoing prosecutions.
Terrorist behavior.
All right, and we're dealing with what is proposed here as, according to your side, new clause 46, Attorney General.
Yes, please, ma'am. The government looked at the Interception of Communication Act. We looked at a number of other places where one has to treat with reporting to the Parliament on matters which could be sub judice. Because there is an imprecision with the word ongoing, it left itself open to somebody having a discretion as to whether something was stopped or not, which could have been arid and technical, and which may have unwittingly taken us out of a full report. The member is quite correct. In particular, in relation to the listing of entities, there's an active listing requirement that every 6 months it's reviewed. So unless it's taken off the list, it comes up on a constant reporting cycle every 6 months. So the CPC's department asked us to consider that there would be difficulty in allowing somebody a discretion as to what is ongoing. So we went instead with number of prosecutions, because that would take care of active and historical information, as for instance we have in the Interception of Communication Act, where the number of warrants issued are disaggregated in that similar fashion. So it was to go for a more precise terminology that ongoing was replaced with just number.
If I could just follow up on the point. Now, I don't know if you're coming close to saying that prosecutions pursuant to this piece of legislation and so on may carry significant national security consequences, but clearly there can't be secret prosecutions.
Correct. It's a matter of public record.
It has to be a matter of public record, public information, and transparency. So in light of that, I felt that ongoing prosecutions could be stated. I mean, there was no problem. I'm not understanding the sequential problem you're pointing out, that
so we
cannot state ongoing prosecutions.
Sure, I appreciate it. So the position is this. The use of the word ongoing may allow a functionary who's preparing a report to say, listen, ongoing doesn't necessarily include the number of prosecutions which we have for matters that are now completed. So we leave that out. We'll only give you a current one. But where there are matters that are stayed, for instance, because of an application in the criminal arena or otherwise, then it's debatable for somebody to say, well, that matter is not ongoing, it's actually stayed, or it's completed at the High Court and not the Court of Appeal. So we didn't want to give the discretion, we wanted all. That's why we've gone for number of prosecutions.
But then when you say number, exactly you mean 21, 31, 101? It's a number. The
yes.
number. So the annual report, as you are proposing here, will carry no information as to the identity of any organization or person who been prosecuted.
It'll be disaggregated under High Court, Magisterial, Court of Appeal, Privy Council, and also High Court civil jurisdiction insofar as listing of entities are included.
Member for Caroni, please.
Thank you, Chair. Attorney General, when we get reports from the Integrity Commission, and just recently the Police Complaints Authority released two annual reports, 2016, 17, and 2017, recently 2015. And in that, they include those that are under consideration. And if you go back and look at all the Integrity Commission reports, you will see those named, the amount, the quantum under consideration. So I want to just support my colleague, the member for Oropouche East. I'm getting a little difficulty in your distinction of the issue of ongoing
If I could just ask, are you
ongoing
suggesting,
cases.
sorry to interrupt, are you suggesting that the names of the entities involved in the prosecutions be there?
No,
Okay,
not at
so
all.
if names are out, and when we say number, we mean all, both those completed and those that are ongoing, do we then have a difficulty?
No.
Well, then we are in agreement.
All right.
Okay. All right, so having regard to the discussion, I'm going to put the question as, the question is that a new clause 43A be read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. This clause will now be read a second time.
New clause 43A, annual report.
The question is that new clause 43A be added to the bill. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. New clause 43A now stands part of the bill. And therefore will put what was circulated by the Honorable Leader of the Opposition as 47 as new clause 46.
Yes. New clause 46, amendment to section 22B.
The question is that new clause 46 be read a second time. Those in favor say aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The clause will now be read a second time.
New clause 46, amendment to section 22B.
Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you very much. I'm happy we have on the last clause. There was some discussion on the last day with the Honorable Attorney General that gave us comfort in the fact that notification was provided elsewhere, that we were able to amend another clause. 27, yes, we went through 27, we made changes that we all agreed to on 27, so that we will not pursue this particular amendment since it's taken care of elsewhere. And can I say, Honorable Attorney General, we appreciate trying to find common ground, which we've been trying to do from day one, and that was almost undermined by your head of government.
Attorney General.
I thank the Leader of the Opposition for the withdrawal of the clause. I think we are next to the preamble.
You want to go there? All right. I think in any event, I have to put the question. If it is withdrawn, then it will be new. Okay? Okay, so we now go on to the preamble. The question is that the preamble be approved. Honorable members, let's have one meeting. I think we've been doing well thus far. The question is that the preamble be approved. Honorable Leader of the Opposition? Anything? AG?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. Honorable members, the question is that the bill, as amended, be now reported to the House. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say no. I think the ayes have it. The House will now resume.
3-4 minutes.
Honorable members, the time we've spent here on this, I think demonstrates to the country, and therefore I'm going to ask everybody, I'm standing, okay? I think the time we've spent on this demonstrates to the country our commitment and our love. Let our behavior reflect that, please. Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, I wish to report that the Anti-Terrorism Amendment Bill 2018 was considered in the Committee of the Whole and approved with amendments. I now beg to move that the House agree with the committee's report.
Honourable members, the question is that this House agree with the committee's report on the Anti-Terrorism Amendment Bill 2018. All in favour say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it. Attorney General.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Anti-Terrorism Act, Chapter 1207, be forthwith read a third time and passed.
Honourable members, the question is that a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Anti-Terrorism Act, Chapter 1207, be forthwith read a third time and passed. All in favour say aye. Aye. Any against? The ayes have it. This bill requires a 3/5 special majority. Clerk.
Mrs. Robinson Regis.
Aye.
Mr. Imbert.
Yes.
Mr. Alwari.
Aye.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Mr. Dial Singh.
Yes.
Mr. Hines.
Aye.
Mr. Mitchell.
Aye.
Ms. Kojo.
Yes.
Mr. Garcia.
Yes.
Mrs. Critchlow Coburn.
Yes.
Mr. Ford.
Yes.
Mr. Dillon.
Yes.
Mrs. Webster Roy.
Aye.
Dr. Gatsby Dolly.
Yes.
Dr. Francis.
Yes.
Mrs. Jennings Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Oliver.
Yes.
Mr. Antwine.
Yes.
Mr. Leons.
Yes.
Mr. Smith.
Yes.
Mr. Lee.
Yes.
Mrs. Basati Sasso.
Aye.
Mr. Charles.
Yes.
Dr. Rambachan.
Yes.
Mr. Karim.
Yes.
Dr. Tiwari.
Yes.
Mrs. Nualu Hussain. Sorry. Dr. Munilal. Sorry.
Yes.
Dr. Gopi Singh.
Despite appalling behavior on the other side, in the interest of the country,
Yes.
I will
Member.
support it.
Member for Caroni East. We've done well so far. Just answer yes or no, please.
On the other side,
Member, I think we've all tried with each other. Answer yes or no for the recording of the vote, please. Is it no? No, there's one vote here. Is it yes? Thank you very much.
Mrs. Vidya Kaini Gopi Singh.
Yes.
Mr. Indar Singh.
Not yet.
Mr. Ramadan.
Yes.
Mr. Palara.
Yes.
Dr. Bodo.
Yes.
Mr. Pari.
Yes.
Ms. Ramdial.
Yes.
Mr. Singh.
Yes.
Honorable members, with a division of 35 members voting for, no members voting against, no abstentions, the motion for the third reading of the Anti-Terrorism Amendment Bill 2018 is approved.
A bill entitled an act to amend the Anti-Terrorism. Entitled an act to amend the Anti-Terrorism Act, Chapter 1207.
Leader of the House.
Thank you very kindly, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, before moving the adjournment of the House, I must advise on a matter which concerns the business of the House. I'm informed by the clerk that a document has come to the Parliament regarding a notification for the appointment to the Office of Commissioner of Police. Madam Speaker, you will recall that in this very House, we have determined that the process of the Police Service Commission in this matter was lacking in transparency, and that one can come to no other conclusion that the Commission did a job which cannot be explained and which was wholly unreliable and appeared to be flawed. Consequently, Madam Speaker, any recommendations coming out of that flawed process cannot and will not be accepted. In the circumstances, Madam Speaker, as Leader of the House, I have instructed the clerk that this matter will not be proceeded with. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that this House do now adjourn sine die.
Member for Caroni East. Member for Shogunas West. I think your outburst is unparliamentary. All right? And I would just ask you to withdraw that too.
This matter that was raised is really a subversion of the Constitution.
Member for Shogunas West, I have asked you to withdraw the outburst. If you don't wish to do so, I really can't, but then I will exercise other powers.
Madam Speaker, I feel very strongly about it, and I do not wish to withdraw.
Leader of the House.
Thank you very much, Madam. Madam, I've put to adjourn sine die. Thank you.
Honorable members, the question is that this House do adjourn sine die. All in favor? Aye. Any against? This House is now adjourned sine die.